You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
And coming up, Chef Anthony stepping into Studio K to give us some tips on vacuum sealing vegetables. That's not the only thing he's doing, though. There's
steak, too.
Good food boiling over here.
It's called sous vide cooking. Also, a southeast Kansas man drowns at Stockton Lake.
And take a look at the Skywatch storm tracker. Not a lot on it locally, but we head off to the southwest and we've got showers and thunderstorms building down by OKC, and they'll roll up the turnpike later today. We'll break it all down coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. Police in Marionville, Missouri released the name of a person who died after a single car crash on Tuesday. The crash happened near the Odell and College intersection, where they found 45-year-old Carrie Matavier of Marionville. When they arrived, they say she was suffering from a medical emergency and had not sustained injuries from the crash. She later died at the hospital. Authorities recovered the body of a southeast Kansas man at Stockton Lake in Cedar County, Missouri. They say they found 60-year-old John Gray of Fort Scott in the Orleans Trail Cave. They say he drowned, but do not know the circumstances. The DAV, or the Disabled American Veterans of Joplin organization, is looking for new volunteers. Officials say they're in need of drivers to help drive military veterans to the hospital and to their medical appointments.
Well, it's always a need for more volunteers. People are busy and, they have things, and COVID really did take a hit on our volunteer drivers, and we're looking to get more because the need is there. We have lots of veterans in the community that are needing to get to their medical appointments, and our volunteers are the ones that get them there.
Crabtree says volunteers do not need to be a veteran. All they need is a driver's license and a willing heart to help. Kansas Congressman Jake Latoner visited Galena to participate in a ribbon cutting at Celtron. Celtron is a company that builds cables and cable harnesses primarily for the military. Now, Celtron recently invested more than $1 million in a 4,000-foot expansion for the facility.
Be badged in order to pass out of the area that we're standing in right now and move into our office areas or our manufacturing areas. You have to be badged through with a key. So that type of physical security is elemental in the believe it or not, it's included in the cybersecurity requirements.
Well, this investment will bring increased engineering, new offices, and additional equipment to bolster what he was talking about, tech and security. Well, businesses in Pittsburgh decorate their storefronts for the Paint the Town Red event. Judges announced the best decorations for each category earlier in the week, but community favorite vote for the best one was still going on until this morning. According to Pitt State, decorating the town with the university colors and logos is a great way to welcome alumni, but also the new freshmen on campus for the first home game of the season today.
Particularly the newer students who have not been on campus before, because they're able to see how much our community, our Chamber of Commerce, our city, how much they support Pittsburgh State University.
The public is welcome to join the Gorilla Fest celebration this afternoon at 4 o'clock east of the stadium. Well, Pittsburgh is preparing for plenty of other events. The Pittsburgh Parks and Rec Department is looking forward to its upcoming fall activities. Events in September range from a dinosaur-themed date night to an adult softball slow pitch tournament.
They're just good events, and we like to have people in our parks, and the more we have and good times we're having, I think everybody's the community comes together a little bit tighter.
Join us as we are live in Pittsburgh during the noon, 5 and 6 p.m. newscast as part of our More Power to You tour. Come visit us at Evergy Courtyard at Block 22 in Pittsburgh, between the Opera House Hotel and the National Bank building facing Broadway. That's where you can enter for a chance to win a Roku device and Kansas City Chiefs tickets. And that's where our very own Chris Warner will be today at noon.
I certainly will. See, I'm going to be lucky because you see, we've got scattered storms coming in. They shouldn't be here by noon.
There you go.
But they should be here by right around 5 or 6 o'clock this evening. So hopefully they've got some plans. I know our evening crew, they're gonna nail it one way or the other. I mean, it's Dow, Doug, and Jacob. There's gonna be a blizzard out there, and they'll stand there in their short sleeve shirts and their shorts, and they'll still go on as if nothing's going on.
I'm sure they'll set up a canopy or something. Yeah.
They should.
Just
I'm
like
sure.
everyone will at the tailgate as well.
Yes, because these storms unfortunately could be making their way in right around the time it's game time for Pitt State and Missouri Southern tonight. Let's take a quick look. We didn't have this yesterday because there wasn't one. There's one particular site that I get this information from the National Weather Service, and for some reason they didn't update yesterday, but they did today. So we get to talk about 1979. This is a crazy one. A home in Centerville, Tennessee was hit by lightning and totally destroyed. It marked the third time it had been hit by lightning since it was built just 9 years earlier. Talk about some bad luck in that house. All right, nothing locally on the Skywatch Storm Tracker. It's all of this southwest of Oklahoma City. It's going to be rolling its way up the turnpike and bringing us our storm chances later this afternoon. 7th and Rangeline, absolutely beautiful sunrise today, but you can see the clouds ahead of this approaching storm system. 63 degrees in Joplin. We are looking at 63 in Columbus, 60 in Pittsburgh. Iola, Fort Scott, and Yates Center competing for, and Nevada now joining in on the competition for who can be the coolest out there. As we go through the rest of the day, it's going to heat up nicely. 84 by noon, afternoon high of 91, 80 by 8. It's about 4 o'clock. Shower and thunderstorm activity, scattered activity starts to move in. Heading into tonight, scattered showers and thunderstorms hold on. 70 at 11, 68 by 2, and an overnight low of 67. Good news is for Labor Day weekend, at least right now, mostly cloudy on Saturday, 90, maybe an isolated storm or two, and then 87 on Sunday, and partly cloudy skies. We'll talk more about the rain chances and all of that stuff here in just a few more minutes or so. Something like that. Just hang out with us.
Well, up next, religion and heart health play a role with each other.
Gosh, excuse me. And later, why the DAV needs you to volunteer for them. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14.
Welcome back. We've got Chef Anthony in studio, and earlier this morning we showed you how easy it was to vacuum seal your vegetables, add seasoning, and your steak as well. And we talked about this Joule sous vide. What do you call it? A tool?
It's a tool.
A tool. Yeah. So what we've been doing for the last hour is cooking our steak and veggies.
Yes, I got everything ready to go. We're going to start by taking out our steak. Now, you still want to sear the outside of your steak so that it looks appealing to eat, but doing it this way makes it real easy. This is the only way I like to cook a well-done steak, because generally when you cook a well-done steak, it dries out.
Yeah.
And is really chewy. This way it stays tender, it stays moist, everything is perfect in it. And you can control what you do, but there's just a lot of people out there.
Just remind everybody what you put on here for seasoning, what you put inside the bag.
This is a smoky habanero rub and butter.
Butter.
Is what I put in here. And so I kept it really simple. And I have my pan. I'm just going to set it in my pan and let it start to sear. And we'll set that right to the side.
Okay.
And we're going to start pulling out some of our vegetables. Here's our corn.
Now, do you need to saute any of these, or are they just good to go?
These are all good to go. You can saute these if you want to add a little color to them, like your squash and zucchini, but you really don't need to.
So this was corn.
Corn
cut straight off the cob, yeah.
Yes, cut right off the cob. And Martinez has this most beautiful corn coming out right now. It's incredible. And we have some carrots coming.
And you could be a little more delicate if you want to make sure, if you don't want the juices, but then those juices are also going to be really good when you have the steak on it too. So
that's exactly it.
Yeah.
And my carrots.
Now the carrots you cooked a little bit longer than everything else.
Because they're so big and they're so dense, you have to cook them a little longer. But I don't always cook my carrots all the way through, because I like my carrots to have a little bit of density to them when I bite into them. I don't like them to turn to mush.
That's the spicy one.
Yes, this is the spicy one because you don't see the flakes.
Okay. So what did we put in that one? It had something hot.
This one is a hot honey mango, or hot honey and habanero.
Okay.
So, and we'll just take those veggies right on out of there.
And again, all these veggies that we're using this morning came in this week's vegetable box.
Yes, from Martinez Produce. Correct.
Which is really cool. Like on a weekly basis, anybody can sign up for these boxes and get them.
This week's are $30, but the amount of vegetables that came inside of it, I went to Walmart yesterday to buy supplies for class, and it was almost $60 worth of vegetables.
Right.
So you get a really good product, and you get a really high you get a high quality product and you get a lot of
And
it.
you have an option with them. You can get just a fruit box that's straight fruit. You can get a combo box that's mixed fruit and veggies, or one that's straight veggies, or they also offer something called a keto box, which are keto-friendly fruits and veggies.
Yes, and the options for them are wonderful. The folks up there take really good care of everybody. Now we're going to leave our potatoes for just another minute and turn
I was
our
going to be
steak.
daring and reach into the very warm
Oh
water.
yeah, go ahead and reach into there. And you can feel our potatoes are nice and soft.
Oh,
They're going to
yeah.
have a little bit of density to them still, but the flavors have been cooking right into our potatoes. And I know I've overloaded this plate quite a bit, but I wanted to showcase many of the uses as I could for this product, because you just cannot go wrong when you learn to cook like this. And you can buy different sous vide sticks. They're available in all sorts of different styles.
Now let's put this out here so we can see it.
And we'll turn that off just by touching the top.
Here's our veggies that we got plated right now. There we go.
And they're just absolutely gorgeous.
Beautiful. Okay, so our potatoes. What seasoning did we have on the potatoes again?
Hot honey.
Hot honey, and then these are the not quite as spicy veggies that we did.
Yes. And then carrots. The carrots have a maple bourbon garlic inside with butter. And then the corn has a little bit of a kick to it. And then the vegetables have a little bit of a kick to it.
Habanero ones, yes.
Yes, those are going to be so good.
So how long are we searing the steak
The
for?
steak is done.
Okay.
We just want to get a little color to it.
Oh, beautiful.
I mean, that's a beautiful plate. That's a lot of food.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, nobody can go wrong with everything that's on there. It's so beautiful. It's nutritious because you haven't lost anything.
I'm going to let this cool just a hair before I dig into it, because I know we're coming right
yes.
back after the commercial break.
Of course, got to get that right.
We'll be right back. All right, we are back, and I'm ready to dig into this steak. I'm so excited. This is a sous vide steak with what type of seasoning on it?
Now I forget. I made so much with so many different
Something
seasonings.
bourbon.
Oh, maple
Yeah.
bourbon,
Yeah.
and butter.
Bourbon, maple, and butter. Okay, and you said when we were sous vide it was going to be about a medium well, and
Yes.
initially I was like, oh man, I like my stuff medium rare, but you said wait, because the way we cook it, you have some butter packets in there too.
Yes.
It's not going to be dried out. So
Correct. It's not going to dry out. It's going to be tender. It's going to be flavorful and wonderful.
All right, so here's.
Oh, we're right at a medium.
Yeah, there you
so
go.
we're in good shape.
Okay, this is perfect. Oh, and it's just falling apart. Like I don't even need this knife.
No. This is the beauty of a sous vide. You can take those oddball cuts, oxtails, shanks, which is the arm or the leg, and put it in here and cook it for a long period of time. And you'll get that beautiful tenderness and pack it with flavors.
Wow.
Isn't that great?
Wow. Oh my goodness.
See, this is one of the reasons why I love to teach this to my students.
Wow.
You can have this in a dorm room. A lot of colleges don't let you have a hot plate.
There's no open flame.
There's no open flame. Your college student can take this to school and cook with it and control it with the technology that they're used to and produce some really awesome stuff.
Okay, so you talked about cutting some of the hard fat off
Yes,
of this, but you left a lot on here, and that helped a lot with the moisture too.
Yes, it helps
Yeah.
keep a lot of the flavors inside of there, and you just feel it, just push it. If it's hard, cut it off.
That is amazing. Okay, so then we've got our veggies with it too.
Try the corn and the carrots specifically. I love my carrots like this.
Now
Everybody's
this is fresh corn straight off the cob.
Yes, I cut that straight off the cob, threw some threw some peppers in there and some onions in there and seasoned it up in a little bit of butter.
That's great. And that was just from that container of seasoning.
Yep.
Feel free to experiment and just pick out random seasonings and stuff. And hey, if you try it and you don't like it, then don't use it.
Yeah, try something new as many times as you possibly can and just experiment, because you will find a combination of one or two that you absolutely love. And see, my favorite part about the carrots is that crunch. I don't like it when my carrots have already been turned to mush.
Too
I like,
soggy, yeah.
like that nice little crunch to my carrot, because then it has a little bit of body and it holds flavors.
And the carrots actually cooked a lot longer than any of the other vegetables too.
And you can control how long everything cooks. The timers on it are wonderful. The use of the Jewel is a tremendous product to use. And the potatoes, so good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah. Okay, so during the break, I tried a little bit of this the veggies, the that weren't going to be as spicy, but now I'm going to dare one
I
of these.
wouldn't burn you. I've already succeeded in
So
spicing
you've got
you out.
zucchini, you've got squash. I love squash.
I have some peppers and some onions in there, and I threw some butter in there along with my seasonings, shook it up real good, put it in the vacuum sealer, and away we went.
Okay. I feel like everyone's just watching me eat right now.
But it's a good thing.
It's not too spicy.
No. But it holds everything together. It's just kind of there.
That's really good.
When you vacuum seal something, you kind of cause it to open up. The pores or cellular structure of it open up a little bit. The spices have a chance to cook down into it. And then when you take the pressure off, it just kind of...
Okay, so let's talk about, we talked about these kind of things that you can do with the sous vide. What are other options you can use the sous vide for?
You can do all sorts of desserts. Creme Brulee is one of the tried and true ones that I like to do for my students because it is such a decadent dessert. And most of them have never had a cooked custard before. So we do that, and then we break out the torches and I let them brulee the sugar on top of it.
So you're actually sticking it in water?
And we put it in water. We do it in a mason jar.
Huh. We'll have
And
to
drop
try
it
that
right in
sometime.
there and let it
Yeah.
cook. Takes about an hour to cook. Refrigerate it overnight. It's ready to go the next day. And it's super easy to do. Once you learn how to brulee the top and you trust yourself with a torch, easy it can be. We would do 30 to 60 of them at a time. And they're great. They taste wonderful. My baking and pastry students are getting ready to do gummy bears.
With the sous vide?
With the sous vide.
Oh, wow. Okay, so we talked about this one. This particular one is more of a higher end model that
Yes.
costs a little more, but it has all that digital stuff
Yes.
to where you can monitor it. You can actually cook with it while you're at work. You can control it
Yes.
with the app.
And that is wonderful, especially if you have a college student. They're very adept to technology, so they'll take to it like nothing.
I can see that being beneficial in your dorm room too, because
Yes.
then you can go to class and
Exactly.
monitor the temperature.
And they could do a roast like they had at home, and they don't have to worry about a slow cooker because that slow cooker you can't control the temperature. But this you control it perfectly. It will cook safely, and the recipes that are pre-programmed into the app change and are updated every month by
so
chef steps.
let's say that what would the range be? Lower end sous vide to higher end, like if you were looking into getting one.
You can get them anywhere from $100 to $4,000.
Whoa. Okay.
So the $4,000 ones will do, I think it's around 600 we'll move 600 gallons
Okay.
of water an hour. So just, I mean, that's for
You don't need that in your dorm
the
room.
industrial style.
Yeah.
But this one right here will anywhere between $200 and $300.
Okay.
So, but the Jewel one is just, I like this one because of the simplicity and the technology that's involved with it, because my students take to it really easy.
Okay.
So-
What's the game plan for what we're doing next week? And I know it involves the sous vide as well.
Yes, we're going to do lamb chops. Yes. So I'm going to do an herb crusted lamb chop that I really enjoy, so you don't have to put the mint in it because the mint is on the crust.
Okay. And there was a specific...
November 5th.
November 5th. I was going to say, there's a date you wanted to talk about?
So November 5th, out there to all the parents and those teachers that are out there, from anyone who can hear this, starting next week, we're going to make available a Google form for you to sign up for the first annual PHS Culinary Dragons Bake Off.
Ooh.
So there'll be 2 categories, 2 age groups, middle school and high school, bread and cakes. And
So it's student competitors.
student competitors, it will be on a Saturday. We're going to host it at PHS. Come out, no cost to enter.
That sounds cool.
So teachers, talk to your students, sign them up, reach out to me, and we'll get you all the information for it. But it's going to be a great opportunity for local students to cook, and it just gets some camaraderie with fellow bakers in the area.
All right, we'll be talking more about that in the weeks to come as well. All right,
Yes.
thank you so much for
Thank
coming
you.
in. And I might just have to have another bite as we go to break. We'll be right back.
In Health Watch this morning, one hurdle now cleared for new COVID-19 vaccines. Yesterday, U.S. Food and Drug Administration gave a green light to updated boosters aimed at the most dominant variants. But a top U.S. health official is also responding to criticism that the U.S. government is moving too quickly on the boosters. Mandy Gaither has more.
In the U.S., BA.5 continues to be the dominant variant, last week causing nearly 9 out of 10 new COVID infections, according to CDC estimates.
I really would love to be ahead of this variant this season.
That's what the updated COVID-19 boosters are aimed at doing. It's a bivalent vaccine, which means it contains mRNA encoding from the original coronavirus spike protein, together with mRNA encoding from the spike protein of the Omicron BA4 and BA5 variants.
As we have updated these booster shots for the fall, the data that we are looking at is related to very, very small changes in the mRNA sequence and really shouldn't impact safety at all.
Both Moderna and Pfizer have now been given initial emergency use authorization from the FDA for their updated boosters, but there is some criticism that the U.S. government is moving too quickly and without enough human data.
There's always a question here of being too slow versus too fast. And I think one of the challenges is if we wait for those data to emerge in human data, not just mice data and human data, we will be using what I would consider to be a potentially outdated vaccine.
CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky says the strategy now is to tailor vaccines that would have the greatest effect, ideally one that would have less waning over time by targeting the variants that are dominant now.
It's now up to an advisory committee with the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention to recommend the new boosters. The agency's director would then need to accept that recommendation before the new vaccines would be available. That vote is expected to happen today. Quick check of the forecast. We're looking at scattered thunderstorm chances. I know Pitt State, Missouri Southern have some home games tonight. Do keep an eye to the sky. 91 for an afternoon high. Scattered storms hang on through the overnight as well, with 67 for the overnight low. More of the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 after this.
Most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:31. Let's take a look at today's top stories. Police in Marionville, Missouri released the name of the person who died after a single car crash on Tuesday. The crash happened near the Odell and College intersection, where they found 45-year-old Carrie Matavier of Marionville. When they arrived, they saw she was suffering from a medical emergency and had not sustained injuries from the crash, but she later died at the hospital. Kansas Congressman Jake Latoner visits Galena for a ribbon-cutting ceremony at Celtron. Celtron is a company that builds cables and cable harnesses primarily for the military. Celtron recently invested more than $1 million in a 4,000-foot expansion for its facility.
Be badged in order to pass out of the area that we're standing in right now and move into our office areas or our manufacturing areas. You have to be badged through with a key. So that type of physical security is elemental in the believe it or not, it's included in the cybersecurity requirements.
The investment will bring increased engineering, new offices, and additional equipment to bolster tech and the security that you heard him talking about. Well, a newly discovered tomb in Peru may date back to 3,000 years. A team of archaeologists have been excavating the site in Cajamarca for about a month. Scientists from Peru and Japan discovered a burial chamber believed to belong to a high-ranking priest. Inside the tomb were offerings including necklaces and rocks. Musical instruments made out of seashells are also found. Researchers say the instruments and garments indicate the tomb belonged to a powerful leader and one of the oldest of the Andean civilization.
Absolutely fascinating. There's been a lot of interesting finds here in the last few months, it seems.
Yeah.
From dinosaur fossils, fossilized tracks, now this, lots of interesting things being discovered here this year.
Definitely.
Well, something else we're discovering is rain, and it's on the way. And in fact, Skywatch Storm Tracker locally, nothing. So in order to discover, we've got to dig down into Oklahoma, southwest of Oklahoma City. See these storms developing out here? They're eventually going to roll up I-44 and make their way our direction. Now, right now at 7th and Range Line, it looks pretty good, doesn't it? That's a nice sunrise. And temperature's pretty good, too. 63 degrees as we start the day. Fort Scott, holding on, they're battling for the cool spot. 58, 59 in Pittsburgh, 63 Columbus, 64 in Neosho, and 64 in Carthage. As we go through today, it's going to warm up quite nicely. 84 by noon, afternoon high of 91 degrees, 80 by 8. Scattered thunderstorm chances start building in around 4, so if you're going to Missouri Southern or Pitt State's game tonight, make sure you keep an eye to the sky for some of these scattered storms. Scattered storms hold on all night and into early tomorrow morning. 70, 68 by 2, 67. The overnight low. 90 degrees on Saturday with partly to mostly cloudy skies, maybe an isolated storm or two. 87 on Sunday with partly cloudy skies. Quick check at the 7-day forecast shows what we can expect heading into the weekend. 80 tomorrow with those morning storms. Decent Saturday and Sunday, and then storms return by Labor Day and hold on for the beginning of next week, but they do keep temperatures in the 80s. More of the KOAM Morning News right after this. It's time to honor today's four-state hero, Gerard Gouvion. Sergeant Gouvion served in the Army from 1990 to 91, served in the Persian Gulf with the 1011th Supply and Service Company. During his service, he earned the Army Achievement Medal, the Kuwait Liberation Medal, and the Good Conduct Medal. A native of Parsons, we thank you, today's four-state hero, Gerard Gouvion. This morning, we've been talking about pets, and we're talking specifically about those 4,000 rescued beagles that went all over in the United States, including to the SCK Humane Society in Pittsburgh. And as a matter of fact, Nellie is one of the first ones who's up for adoption. It's online applications according to the SCK Humane Society's Facebook page, and they open at 1 p.m. today. These beagles just getting their first taste of just being dogs after living their lives in cages. They were used to be bred. They were sold to labs for research and science experiments. But thanks to some loving humans, these pups have been rescued and can have their day every day as the top dog in a new forever home. And as we mentioned, the SCK Humane Society, they got a total of 8. They got 1 adoption applications open today at 1 p.m. and they are online, and anyone interested still has to fill out an application online. So that brings us to our something to talk about today. What kind of pets do you have? So far, 59% of you say you've got dogs. 20% of you say you have cats. 12% of you say you have both. 9% of you say you've got something else. And the list for something else is sizable. It's a lot. Make sure you vote. KOAMNewsNow.com/vote. Do so in the app. Take part in the discussion on our Facebook page. After a 10-year career, MSP's Cutest Canine is calling it quits, and he's getting a one-of-a-kind send-off. Ebers, the dog, is a Vizsla Lab mix and is trained to detect bombs on people headed through the airport. Just this past week, he was named Cutest Canine in all of the TSA, and he did it as the oldest working canine in the agency. Reporter Adam Duxter shares his send-off fit for a king.
This is Eber's bread and butter.
Our biggest threat is explosives coming through, and our canine teams are our best defense against that.
Leading longtime handler Gene Carney through MSP, tracking the scent of an explosive.
He was born to do this. His ability to search out his trained odors amazes me every day.
It's something he's done too many times to count, but on his last day, his reward, enough to send any tail into hyperspeed.
It was a pinnacle of what we've worked for all these years, just to let him be the dog that he deserves to be now. He's worked so hard all these years. He's been so dedicated and such a hard worker. And the only thing he asked is that toy.
Over the course of his career, Ebers has worked 2 Super Bowls, a Special Olympics World event, and an NCAA championship. Safe to say he has kept a lot of people safe, and his handler says he's done it all with a smile on his face. And as the work vest comes off, he can be pet and embraced at work for the very first time. Every bite of bomb-shaped cake, a thank you for man's best friend and man's best helper.
I was just ready for him to be a dog. I just wanted him to enjoy the last few years just being a dog. It's inevitable that it was going to come to a point where he was going to start slowing down and going to start maybe not being quite as proficient as he was when he was younger. Didn't want him to go out on a low note.
Really, Evers?
Ebers and handler Gene Carney were recognized with commemorative plaques for their service to the TSA. Carney says their first retirement plan is to go swimming in Iowa's Lake Okoboji. We've got another look at Thursday's rain chances right after this. All right, let's take a look at those rain chances we're looking at today. Now, right now on the Skywatch Storm Tracker, nothing locally. We got to go about 200 miles to the south and west to find where these storms are developing, and they'll eventually be making their way in our neighborhood over the next few hours. 7th and Range line looking pretty good. I do like this sunrise, but it's getting a little hazy out there, a little hazed over by some clouds. 63 in Joplin right now, not bad. Fort Scott, no longer the reigning champion of the cool spot. Yates Center stealing that, so is Sedan, both at 58, 59 in Fredonia, 60 Fort Scott, 64 in Lamar, and 64 in Carthage. As you're planning your day today, it's going to get toasty, 84 by noon, 91 for the afternoon high, and 80 by 8. And about 4 or 5 o'clock is when those scattered showers and thunderstorms begin to increase. If you're going to the Pitt State, Missouri Southern games tonight, make sure you keep an eye to the sky. Keep the Skywatch Storm Tracker weather app handy, just in case you want to be safe. We're looking at 70 by 11, 68 by 2, and 67 for an overnight low with storms holding on through the evening, scattered storms. An isolated storm or two on Saturday, 90, 87 on Sunday as you plan your holiday weekend. Otherwise, some decent temperatures for this time of year. The future track, it shows us where those storms begin to build in from the southwest later today. They hold on into early tomorrow, and they clear out. We get a little bit on the toasty side. Then we've got the chance for some stray showers and thunderstorms on Saturday. And by the time we get to Sunday, it pretty well clears out. We're just left with partly cloudy skies. On the 7-day, we get to 80 tomorrow with those morning storms. Get the nice temperatures through the weekend, and then storm chances begin to return on Labor Day. 87 and then 85 on Tuesday, 87 on Wednesday as we watch another round of thunderstorms begin to push into the area. And look at these temperatures, all hovering right around 66 degrees. So not bad overall, especially considering it's the first day of September. It feels pretty nice out there. Now, here's Tanya with Consumer Watch.
That's right. In Consumer Watch this morning, Bed Bath & Beyond announced a restructuring plan that includes plans to close about 150 stores and cut 20% of its workforce. The retailer estimated the cuts would save $250 million in its current fiscal year. Bed Bath & Beyond also said it will focus on national brands instead of its own store labels. The volatile stock plunged more than 21% yesterday and lost nearly 2/3 of its value in the last 12 months. The parent company of social media platform Snapchat plans to lay off 20% of its staff as it tries to reduce costs amid declining sales. The Snap CEO said in a letter to staff that sales were not keeping up with projections. And now he says the company will refocus its business on areas including revenue growth and augmented reality. We'll be right back with more after this, but first let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell. It was a rocking night last night as the Killers came to town at Vivint Arena in Salt Lake City.
But it became more than just a concert for one person in the crowd.
In fact, it became the moment in which Alec Anderson went from normal teenager to rock icon.
Spencer Joseph has the rockin' details.
That took me a minute to kind of process the fact that my musical idols were standing right next to me.
It all started with another YouTube video from years ago when Brandon Flowers of the Killers gave another kid a chance to play the drums with the band.
So he said, "Dad, that's what I want to do, like to get on stage with my superstar."
Maybe if I practice, maybe you think I'd have a shot, Mom? I'm like, yeah, you'd have a shot. And in my head, like, probably a very teeny tiny shot.
As we were driving there, "Are you sure you got this?" He said, "I know it like the back of my hand, Dad, yes."
Mom and Dad, Eric and Joni, have encouraged him over the last 3 years, practicing at least twice a week. Then came the moment of truth.
Realistically thought I probably had like a 2% chance of it actually happening. People around started catching on to what was going on really quickly, and they turned on their flashlights and shined it on the poster.
Eric quickly nudged me and said, "Look, see the lights down there? That's Alec."
Got to the stage really quick, full of adrenaline, kind of shaky.
To put it mildly, he rocked. But this is more than just a cool story. It's a redemption story for a teen who's been through a lot.
Starting with a really bad mountain bike accident that I had, and my 3 sons were with me. That started for Alec in particular some really significant trauma and anxiety.
The death of a close family friend, along with starting high school amidst the pandemic, wasn't easy.
We found ourselves we're religious people, and just saying, gosh, God, can you give this kid just give him a win.
But it was the Killer's music that helped pull him out. And as he played with his idols who helped him through so much,
give these people what they want now.
Mom and Dad watched on, waiting for their chance to give him a hug. But
he's got all these people around him that are wanting to take, all these fans like wanting to take pictures with him.
So for a young drummer with the experience of a lifetime under his belt, it's a moment that's changed his life for the better and forever.
Kind of felt like my redemption from the 3 years that I've hid away, not being confident, not being myself, and being up there just kind of represented to me that this is it. This is the turning point from the bad few years to now the good rest of my life.
Very, very cool.
Yeah, that's his rock and roll dreams definitely came true that day.
They certainly did. If you've been dreaming of rain, well, those dreams are going to come true. So we've been talking about it. Now, not everybody's been dreaming of rain, unfortunately, and I know we've got Missouri Southern, Pitt State both playing at home tonight, and we are watching scattered thunderstorm chances by the time those games get underway. On the Skywatch Storm Tracker, we got to head a little bit to the southwest where we're finding what is the catalyst for our storm chances a little later today. 7th and range line, though, right now still looking pretty decent. We got a few passing clouds. That's about it. 63 in Joplin as we start the day. Now, take a look regionally. 58 Yates Center, 59 in Fredonia, 58 Sedan, 62 in Newata, 65 in Welch, and 68 in Monette. So not a bad start to this first day of September. It's going to be a hot one, though. 84 by noon. 91 is our afternoon high. 80 by 8 o'clock. And about 4 or 5 o'clock is when scattered shower and thunderstorm chances begin to move in. So do keep an eye to the sky if you've got outdoor plans today. For example, not just the games, we'll be live at noon, 5, and 6 in Pittsburgh for our More Power Tour. So the weather gods have smiled upon me, it looks like. I'm just going to deal with cloudy skies and 80s. And the evening folks may have to deal with something a little bit different, but they're also very resourceful. They'll get through it. 70 by 11, 68 by 2, 67 is our overnight low with those scattered storms holding on until tomorrow morning. And then they'll clear out. Saturday, isolated storm or two, possible under mostly cloudy skies, partly cloudy on Sunday, 90 Saturday, 87 on Sunday, decent temperatures for Labor Day weekend. This is where our storm chances come up. This is later this evening. You can see they just kind of sock in. They're still scattered, but you can see the rough range of where they're expected to be. Then we get through Friday evening. Things clear out. Stays pretty decent. The isolated, maybe some scattered early storms on Saturday, and then those clear out, leaving us with cloudy skies. Not bad temperatures either. I mean, it's still hot, but it's not as bad as it could be. So I think that model was going a little too high on those temperatures. We're looking at 90 and 87. 87 Monday, and that's when our storm chances build back in heading into next week. And we can't neglect Friday. 80 degrees tomorrow with some early morning shower and thunderstorm activity. We're back right after this.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's what's happening today. Today, President Biden will deliver a primetime speech at Philadelphia's Independence Hall. The White House says the remarks will focus on what they call an extreme threat to democracy. House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy will give his own speech ahead of the president's from President Biden's hometown of Scranton, Pennsylvania. And a hearing will take place today to rule on former President Trump's request to have a special master review the documents seized from his Mar-a-Lago estate. The Justice Department says they have already completed a preliminary review of the documents and that a special master is unnecessary. Trump's lawyers argued on a court filing on Wednesday night that DOJ investigators would selectively leak information. And a CDC advisory panel is meeting today to decide who should get a new COVID-19 booster that specifically targets the highly contagious Omicron strain. On Wednesday, the FDA authorized shots of the new booster from both Moderna and Pfizer. The booster could be available in just a matter of days if the CDC signs off on them.
All right, we are heading for a hot one today with increasing storm chances. 84 at noon, 91 for our afternoon high, 80 by 8. Storms start building in about 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock this afternoon. Pitt State, Missouri Southern, home games tonight. Keep an eye to the sky. We're not expecting a complete washout, but there may be some rain or lightning delays if these storms roll in at just the wrong time. 11 o'clock, 70, 68 by 2 a.m., overnight low of 67, and a check of the 7-day forecast shows we're going to have 80 degrees tomorrow, so not so bad. with some of those morning storms. Decent weekend, and then by Labor Day, more storms start building in. 80s to start the week with showers and thunderstorms.
All right. I think this next story is designed specifically for you.
Okay, all right. Now I'm intrigued.
Iconic brand Heinz is releasing a ketchup stained fashion collection.
All right.
Heinz
is partnering. I only spilled Parmesan cheese on me today. That was all. Heinz is partnering up with Oakland, California-based thrift store brand ThredUp to create what is being called the Heinz Vintage Drip Collection.
The collection features secondhand designer pieces and streetwear that each come with a Heinz ketchup stain.
Why? It will be offered in sizes from extra, extra small to extra, extra large. It is available for purchase exclusively on thredup.com/Heinz beginning just a couple of days ago.
Brands say all the profits will go to Rise Against Hunger in support of global hunger relief. I have like a series of clothes that I can bring back into fashion now.
All right. That's it for us for now. We'll see you back here today at noon.
Have a great morning, even better day.